unfolds before your very eyes and ears. But the drive-bys are trying to say that Trump may be moderating his positions, specifically on taxing the rich and raising the minimum wage. But the AP has taken it even a step further than the rest of their brethren in the drive-by media. They have an article that has a headline, "Trump as nominee improves odds for parts of Obama's legacy." And the AP story claims that Trump is probably going to preserve Obamacare and the Iran deal, as well as Obama's outreach to Cuba and even Obama's push for transgenders. That's an AP story. Now, there's no doubt what they're doing. They're trying to drive a wedge between Trump and his supporters. I don't know how much of that you want to believe, but if all of that's true, why is the GOP establishment up in arms? I mean, if all of that is true, if everything the AP is reporting about what Trump's agenda is, well, it's right in line with the GOP establishment, or pretty close to what they would do. Anyway, it's getting hot and heavy, and it's becoming apparent to me, and I didn't think it would take long, but it's becoming apparent to me that the drive-by media is going to shift course here, and they are going to try to take Trump out. I think they've probably been humiliated and embarrassed over how they seem to be lapdogs for Trump during the campaign. And there's also the possibility that they did this on purpose, like they did with McCain, to set everybody up. And at the end of the day, they're going to be pushing the Clinton agenda and the Clinton campaign, the Clinton candidacy, which is the odds are. But don't forget, this is the bunch. This is the group that the White House, this Ben Rhodes guy, admits that there's nobody in the White House press corps that knows anything. They're 27 years old. They don't know anything about foreign policy. The individuals, the media people, the journalists, they don't know anything. You can lie to them left and right, and they'll just believe it because they're ideologically predisposed to believe and support Democrats. So this guy, Ben Rhodes, said, we lied through our teeth. He didn't use those words. He said, we basically just made stuff up about the Iran deal. We knew they'd believe it and carry the water, and they did. He said most of these White House press corps people are 27 years old, average age, and their sum total of their political experience is covering campaigns and candidates, which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to have a White House press corps, state-control media, and you're going to have it cover the White House, why not have people in there who are used to covering campaigns? And remember, the way the leftist media covers campaigns, they don't expose the left. They simply, the template is the daily soap opera. Will our people win? Will our guy prevail? In the old theory I gave you, the MacGuffin in any story is what the hero wants. And the hero, when the drive-bys are covering, is always the Democrat. Doesn't matter. Hillary, Obama. So what the hero wants becomes the focal point of the story, i.e. coverage, not what the hero is proposing. And the illustration, all during Obamacare, you never once saw the drive-bys expose it. They never talked about what was in it. That was left to us to do. That was left to alternative media. That was left to outside the Beltway media. But the inside the Beltway media, the White House press corps, and the drive-by media never once reported on the substance, the contents of Obamacare. The coverage was always, will Obama win? Will Obama get what he wants? And, of course, with every story where there's a hero, there's a villain. And the Republican Party or the Republican candidate is always the villain. Will the villain deny our hero what he wants? And that's it. That is the sum total of coverage. I always call it the daily soap opera that suffices as the daily news agenda in the drive-by media. So we have the AP now trying to drive a huge wedge between Trump and his supporters by essentially saying Trump's selling out on everything, except trade. He hasn't sold out on trade yet, but the intimation is that that's coming. And he hasn't sold out on immigration and the wall yet, but that's coming. He's not going to change. He wants to raise taxes on the rich. He wants to raise the minimum wage. Trump is offering alternative answers to these things, depending on the hour and the day. And then we have the Paul Ryan contretemps. Oh, yeah, the Facebook, but yeah. See, this doesn't surprise me. I have to guard against doing this Facebook story and reacting to it like, yeah, really, this is a surprise. I don't mean to be smug about this. What we've learned is that a bunch of former curators at Facebook, they've got their news feed. What's it called, the Facebook news feed? Of all the three of you, you're not Facebookers in there. Well, they need to rename the name Fake Book. It's not fake, it's Fake Book, because what these former news curators, and believe me, gobs of people get their news every day from Facebook. You know, Facebook readers read the news, find out what they like, put it in their feeds, pass it on. It gets spread throughout the Fake Book membership. What we've found is it's curated. The news feed's curated by Fake Book employees. And a bunch of former Fake Book employees said we routinely suppressed conservative news. You know who exposed this? The Gawker bunch, Gizmodo, the tech site of Gawker. Gawker, that's the outfit that lost the suit to the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. Of all people, Gizmodo, where you don't find too much conservatism, but I don't think you find any. Conservative, if they found one at Gizmodo, I shudder to think what would happen to the guy or the girl. I mean, it'd probably feel like you're watching some scene on Game of Thrones to see what they would do to the person. Anyway, I don't mean to distract myself. Facebook workers routinely suppress news stories of interest to conservative readers from the social network's influential trending news section, according to a former journalist who worked on the Fake Book project. This individual says that workers at Fake Book prevented stories about CPAC, Mitt Romney, Rand Paul, and other... Lois Lerner's name apparently never made Fake Book, for example. The people that read Fake Book had no idea who she is. The people that read Fake Book never really were brought up to speed on the IRS scandal against the Tea Party. Several former Fake Book news curators, as they were known internally, told Gizmodo they were instructed to artificially inject selected stories into the Fake Book trending news module, even if they weren't popular enough to warrant inclusion, or in some cases they weren't trending at all. In other words, if it was dull, if it was dead news, if it wasn't trending, if it wasn't spreading through the user base, the curators would put it in there anyway to advance the leftist agenda and harm the conservative agenda. Does this come as a surprise to anybody? No, I know it makes you mad, but does it come as a surprise? When's the last conservative you heard of being invited to a commencement speech at a major university? When's the last conservative you remember being allowed to speak on campus at all that they didn't attempt to hoot and holler and boo them off the stage? Speaking of which, there have been, we're in the midst of a spate of stories written by leftists who are starting to wring their hands over the suppression of conservatism on campus. Nicholas Kristof in the New York Times yesterday has a piece, which I will share with you as the program unfolds. You might recall a couple of weeks ago there was a piece that it was fairly popular within the drive-bys, the website Vox, and it was a story by one of the writers at Vox Media about how there's way too much smugness in liberalism. There's too much arrogance. There's too much superiority, and they just disregard anything that they don't agree with and so forth. And it's not a one-off. I'm starting to see this in more and more places, with Nick Kristof in the New York Times being the most recent. And I've been thinking, what could be causing this? Because, by the way, in every one of these instances, like Vox and Nicholas Kristof, they don't blame themselves. No. This suppression of conservatism on campus and elsewhere in the media, no, they're not responsible for it. No, they haven't stigmatized conservatives. No, they're just commenting now on how unfortunate it is. But what's driving this? Because I refuse to believe they actually care. about fairness and conservatism being fairly treated and represented in the media. You know what I think it is? Which I will also explain in greater detail as the program unfolds. I think it's the Bernie Sanders campaign. I think what's happened is that the mainstream left is scared to death of all these millennial leftist kids off the reservation for Bernie and what is being learned about them, what they don't know, what they believe. Now, you might find it strange for me to say that mainstream leftists can think other leftists are too far to the left. That's not exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they're concerned that they think they're the smartest people in the world, don't forget. And they're looking at the Bernie supporters as illogical. It makes no sense. Bernie's an oddball. He's a kook. He's not going anywhere. And they look at the average Bernie Sanders supporter or your Black Lives Matter person, and they think they're dealing with dumbed-down idiots, which are tough to control because the dumbed-down idiots think they are hyper-super-educated. Anyway, it's for later in the program, but it's something that's starting to increase here in its frequency. Left-wing media types all of a sudden feeling sorry. Well, that may not be totally correct, but concerned over how conservatives have been treated for years on campus primarily, but also within the general day-to-day population. And now this at Facebook. Now we have all these people coming out that used to work there saying, yeah, we suppressed conservatism. Yeah, well, that's nothing new. Conservatism has been suppressed throughout the drive-by media, or misrepresented, or lied about, or stigmatized. It's just now that people are coming out and admitting it. So what do you think's going on, folks? What's driving? I know some of you, the Trump campaign rush, Trump's doing it. That's why they're scared of the Trump. Maybe. We'll see what you think about it. So, Paul Ryan and Trump, big contretemps. A theory that I espoused on Friday made the drive-by media on the weekend and some of the Sunday shows where others were asked to respond to it. So we'll take a break. We'll come back, get started with that aspect of all this. The Cruz campaign is out now saying, too, that they think they might have been able to stop Trump if Rubio had become Cruz's running mate. Now, that would have required Rubio getting out before the Florida primary, which was March 15th. And Rubio wasn't going to do that. We have no indication that Rubio was ever interested in such a thing. But it raises some other questions as well. So, as you can see, folks, our plate today is full. A veritable smorgasbord, a buffet of things to choose from. And you can't go wrong because whatever I choose is going to be right up your alley for the rest of the program. We'll be right back and continue.
America's most listened to talk radio host. Rush Limbaugh on the EIB network.
You will always find a great speech to read in Imprimis, the free monthly speech digest from Hillsdale College. Like Andy McCarthy's important comments recently in a speech titled Islam, Fact or Dreams. Now, at a recent Hillsdale College event, Andy McCarthy, former U.S. attorney, shared remarks on what he learned about Islam when preparing to prosecute Omar Abdel Rahman, also known as the Blind Sheikh, for his role in the World Trade Center bombing. It's a must-read issue about an important topic, Islam, that many people don't fully understand. Now, the good people at Hillsdale College published his speech in the latest issue of Imprimis, the monthly digest read by millions of people every month. Subscribe to it free. Imprimis is free from Hillsdale College. Just visit rushforhillsdale.com to sign up, and they will send you a free PDF copy of this most recent issue to start your free subscription. That's rushforhillsdale.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Carter, CEO of Lear Capital. For months now, Rush listeners have seen Lear on Fox News talking about another financial crisis, and we're seeing real evidence that something big is coming. Some of the world's largest banks are building huge stockpiles of physical gold and silver, lots of it. JP Morgan bought 2,000 tons of silver, and Goldman Sachs bought over 7 tons of gold. Whether it's a major collapse in the financial markets or more money printing and runaway inflation, they're getting ready for something. It happened in 2001 and again in 2008. The markets crashed, and both times gold and silver prices skyrocketed. So isn't it time for you to get ready too? Call Lear Capital today for the industry's best research on the coming rise of gold and silver.
Why are big banks stockpiling gold and silver? Call 1-800-957-GOLD now for your free coming rise of gold and silver reports. Don't wait. The markets are more shaky now than ever. So call 1-800-957-4653. 800-957-4653. That's 1-800-957-GOLD. Gold.
And now for a message from Gerber Life Grow Up Plan. Attention parents and grandparents, do you want to help give your child a great financial head start in life? You can. For just pennies a day now, you can give them $10,000 in whole life insurance that doubles to $20,000 at no extra cost during age 18. Later on, regardless to their health or job, your child has a right to buy additional coverage at adult rates, providing total coverage of up to $100,000. The Grow Up Plan also builds cash value you can borrow from. Low childhood rates that lock in for the life of the policy, benefits that double, plus the right to add more. That's security and valuable protection from Gerber Life, a name known and respected for generations.